everyone, and welcome to the first episode of 2021 of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host, Jennifer. You guys. I have some plans for this year. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I also just wanted to do a quick recap on the Christmas video that I created and the New Year's live that we did. It was totally fun. The Christmas video, as some of you may know, I created with my family for you guys to feel like you weren't alone on Christmas. Any of you that may have been alone on Christmas, or if you just wanted to spend a little time with me and my family celebrating our Christmas and the way that we celebrate Christmas. That was a true depiction of how we celebrate Christmas Eve. We have snacky foods, and usually I let the kids open one present on Christmas Eve. And sometimes me and Mr. Cinnamon will also open one present on Christmas Eve, but this year we decided to just do handmade gifts, and we all this was a last minute decision, so we all scrambled to figure out what our last minute gifts were. And I made Mr. Cinnamon, I'm trying to see if it's on my desk, I made Mr. Cinnamon I think he took off with it. I made Mr. Cinnamon a knit hat out of the Nordica yarn, which I absolutely am so in love with that yarn all over again. I loved working with it in crochet because it has a beautiful pattern. And especially if you do single crochet, you can get the pattern to turn out somewhat like the knit. And knitting with it was a whole different ball game, and it was just so beautiful. And I was so pleased with it. And I think the hat was a little snug on him, or not quite long enough this way for his head. So for his birthday, he got another hat. And this is with the Premier Everyday DK stripes. I showed, his birthday was yesterday, January 2nd, by the way, in case you didn't know that. This is a limited time yarn, and this is what it looks like knit up. And my next project, of course, will be crochet. I'm going to crochet and see how it crochets up. And this is just the Ross hat. But, oh man, I want to make Little Man one of these too, because my children both have beautiful blue eyes, and neither of their parents do. But Little Man, look, I mean, both of them, both my kids, when you put blue on them, their eyes just pop. So, yeah. So I made him that hat for his birthday yesterday. And I actually finished it in the car while we were out shopping for his birthday present. So I'll talk about that in a minute, because I'm still talking about Christmas. I'm going to be all over the place. I got a lot on my mind. I have a lot on my mind today. But you guys don't seem to mind when I ramble. By the way, I colored my hair. We got some of the purple back. I was wanting the purple. The gray does not bother me. I have a lot of gray in this area, and the gray doesn't bother me. But my hair was darker here, and it was like a bleached out, yucky color down here. And I just wanted it all one color. So I was like, hey, let's go back to purple, because I love purple hair. Purple hair makes me feel pretty. So that's what we did. And finding a type of purple dye for your hair that does not bleed everywhere is almost impossible. So this is, if you're interested, this is the Schwarzkopf Metallics, I believe, in the color Amethyst, I think. I don't really remember, but I love it. It makes me feel pretty. The only problem is the conditioner weighs your hair down. I don't generally use conditioner in my hair. And the conditioner that comes with the after product, it makes my hair way down, and it drives me crazy. So, yeah. I really enjoyed that little Christmas Eve video with you guys. I had a lot of fun, and I really liked sharing my stories of my Christmas memories with you. I have a lot more Christmas memories than that. My mom, even with limited funds, she always worked her butt off to give us the best Christmas that we could have. And I've always been really appreciative of that, and I try to recreate that with my kids, just trying to, give them a good, memorable Christmas and not by buying them things either, but by doing stuff together. Like my grandmother, from what I've been told, because she died when I was a baby, my grandmother used to make Christmas ornaments with my mom, and then my mom would do Christmas crafts with us, and then my kids don't do crafts. They're not into crafts. I don't care how much I try to force it on them. They are not. My daughter paints. Well, she used to paint. She's not really into that either anymore. But They're not into the craft. So we go and do stuff. We go and look at Christmas lights. We drive around and do scavenger hunts looking for Christmas lights, and it's just a lot of fun. Like, I try to create memories that way, or like by going overboard with Christmas decorations. By the way, the end of that Christmas decorations, that was not my house. None of those were my house. Not even close. My house for Christmas is about the level of my Halloween decorations, maybe a little bit less this year because I just didn't, there was so much going on. I didn't have the energy or the time to put up all the Christmas decorations outside or inside for that matter. Those houses were local houses to me. The singing house, he actually has all that programmed to music, but because of copyright, I couldn't play the music for you guys. That guy's house is really cool. He's not too far from my house. He has a really cool, like, just synchronized lights and all that singing. And then the other house with the huge display, that is a local Navy veteran. And I don't know if he still lives there or not, because I do know that he tried to sell his bakery. He owns a bakery here in town called Paul's Bakery, and he sets up the display in his yard, and it used to be set up at his bakery as well. And his yard is just amazing. And in normal times, you're allowed to drive through his yard and look at all the decorations. But this time, everybody kind of kept their space and just like drove in the cul-de-sac and looked at his decorations, his millions and millions of decorations. And he is a retired Navy man. Or no, he's not. Oh, I'm so sorry for saying this. He was not Navy. He was a Marine. There's a huge difference there. He was a Marine. Every year he collects donations for Toys for Tots, and he has Marines come and stand wherever his decorations are at and collect the toys. But also because he started to get up in age and he couldn't do the decorating by himself anymore, the Marines would come, like younger Marines would come and do all the setup for him, which is really, really cool that they do that. So yeah, those are the decorations that I showed you guys in the videos. I also wanted to say thank you to anyone who commented their own Christmas stories in the videos. I didn't have time to heart them because I took a couple days break from YouTube, from work, from making videos, from doing the work business, so I can just spend time with my family. And I know that you guys understand that. I did, however, read every single comment on the Christmas videos. I read all my comments anyway. I just don't have time to comment every one of them. Because that does take away from my family and my personal time. But I do read every single comment, and I really, really loved hearing your Christmas stories too and reading those. And I felt like I was a part of you guys as well, and I really appreciate that you guys shared that with me. And I wanted to let you know that I really appreciate that. So, all right, what else? I always write notes, and I have my notes down here, so that's what I'm looking at. I don't want to forget anything, because in the live, I forgot a bunch of stuff, even though I wrote it down, because I was, was a lot going on. Speaking of the live, did you guys like that? Mr. Cinnamon totally talked me into it. I told him I wanted to do a video before the end of the year, and I was trying to think of what to make the video about, and he said, why don't you go live? And I was like, because I don't do lives. I don't do lives on my channel. They scare me. Because honestly, I have been in every live I've been in, there has been a troll come in and like run in their mouth. And I didn't want that. Because there are really, really mean, evil-spirited people out there that just want to come in, and they might not even be a crafty person, but oh, there's a live, so they see it and they're going to pop in and they're going to just bully you. And of course, that did happen, but I kind of laughed it off because the person came in and said that, I think it was a she hates my channel, and that made me laugh so hard. Like, I actually laughed at it because I'm like, well, babe, why are you here if you hate my channel? Like, I have channels that I don't care for. I don't go watch their videos because that's stupid. Like, why am I wasting my time watching something that does not appeal to me? I don't understand that. So that's the only negative comment that I saw. Mr. Cinnamon moderated the live. He was very good. He was on top of stuff. He put stuff to stop before it even came up on my screen up here. And it was a lot of fun. I would say, though, that 99.9% of you were awesome, and I tried to read as many comments as I could, but I did realize, because I film on my phone, and I was watching it on the TV behind the phone, I was only seeing about 20% of the comments that actually came on the screen, and it was filtering it because Mr. Cinnamon was casting it from his phone. And unless I'm the actual person filming and reading the comments, I wasn't getting all the comments on the screen. So I felt bad about that. But there's no way I could. You guys were really awesome. You guys were commenting. It made me feel so good. And I really liked when people that I know like pop in. Ricola's Crochet Corner came in, and Christine came in, and Christina came in, and just a lot of people that are in my group. Froggy Went a Knitting came in. And these are people that I've all had contact with, either with Happy Mail, or I watch their videos, or they're in my Facebook group and they comment all the time. And just seeing you guys in there. Madonna Ballard came in. You know, all you guys, when I saw friendlies in there, I was like, okay, I'm with my people. I'm okay. Like, I don't have to be nervous. And that's when, like, my real personality came out, instead of, like, the nervous Nelly that I turned into when my anxiety kicks up. So it was a lot of fun. And Mr. Cinnamon and a lot of you are trying to talk me into doing more lives. So there may be more lives in the future. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to play it by ear. We're going to see if I can fit that into the schedule, and when I can fit that into the schedule. Because that also involves a level of agreement with my children. If I can keep them upstairs and not arguing and not doing what kids do, being loud, jumping around. Little man especially is so loud. He is so loud all the time. Yeah. So you guys would know. I think it was one of the, I don't remember if it was the Christmas video or what video it was. We had to actually pause and go take care of stuff because little man was in the bathroom having problems. Oh, the life of a mom is so fun. Speaking of life of a mom, we got notified yesterday. School is supposed to go back into session on tomorrow the 4th, which will be today the 4th when you see this video. COVID cases in the area have went from 11 to 14%. And Mr. Cinnamon always coughs at inappropriate times. I know you can hear him. He's so loud. Oh, he coughs and sneezes so loud. Like he has to have the attention on him because he's coughing and sneezing. Anyway, we got notified from the school board yesterday that they will not be back in school session until past the 15th when they reevaluate. So from now until the 15th, it will be 100% at home school. But instead of little man doing, because little man's schedule is Monday and Tuesday, he's half a day school at home on the computer, which sometimes that's a struggle for an ADHD kid to sit at a computer and listen to a teacher through a monitor. There are some days it is absolute torture for both of us. I would just say that. Keeping him sitting still like he's supposed to in school, where there's, I don't know, he seems to control himself better in a school environment, but at home, he cannot sit in this chair. I don't know how he behaves at school. I don't get complaints about him from his teachers, but I know that when he's sitting in this chair, he is constantly moving and twitching and twirling around and wanting to get up, and I gotta pee, and oh, but I'm hungry right now. You are in school right now, but because he's at home, like, he doesn't follow those. He's 6 years old. There are some days it is absolute torture for both of us. So now instead of those 2 half days, he has 4 full days from 8 in the morning till 3 something in the afternoon on a computer. He's 6 and he has ADHD. My next couple weeks, you guys, my purple hair may all fall out or get pulled out because I'm just, I don't know how we're going to do this. My daughter takes care of herself. She does her own, like, she gets on the computer when she's supposed to. She takes a break when she's supposed to. Sometimes if she's hungry, she brings the computer down and eats while she's on the computer. I'm cool with all of that. But honestly, little man is not learning anything on this computer. And it is so frustrating to me. And I'm so ready for all of this to be over. I'm so ready for school to be back in session full time. I'm just ready for all of it. I'm just ready for normalcy. And I know you guys get me. I know you understand. But That is, of course, going to affect the channel and how many videos I'm able to make and upload, because I can't make videos in here while he's in here doing his schoolwork, because this desk is his desk and my desk over there is where I'm supposed to work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I'm going to probably be busting my butt to get everything done. And Mr. Cinnamon is not going to be here. His work has been moving more towards him being back in the office, where he has had a lot of time over the past several months where he's able to work at home, and he's required to work at home. And I love that, because at least I have a tag team where I can say, tag, you're it. And I get a break from being in here, and he's in here doing his work and helping little man. And yeah, Mommy's got a lot on her plate right now. And I know that I can handle it. I know that I'm strong enough. I'm ready for normalcy. Yeah. All right. So I got some yarn from Premier Yarns. I opened that in the live in case you didn't see that. I know my light, every time I turn my head, it gets dark. And then the whole thing blows out. I got some yarn from Premier Yarns. I did an unboxing in the live video. This was one of the yarns that I opened, and I had to work with it right away. Oh, it's so pretty. I really liked working with this yarn. It is so, so soft. The Premier Everyday line, I don't care what yarn it is. If it's the bobbin, if it's the Everyday DK stripes, or just the Premier Everyday. Like, if it says Premier Everyday on it, you can guarantee it is going to be just absolutely buttery soft. This is like the best, squishiest yarn to work with. It is my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. That was one of the yarns that I got in the box, which just fell out of the top of the box. And then I haven't worked with the Everyday DK Merino blend yet, but this is going to be next on probably the needles, possibly the hooks too. I'm trying to do knit and crochet so that everyone that watches this channel that does a yarn craft, well, I don't weave, because honestly I wish I could weave so I could show you guys that, and my opinion on that too, but I'm trying to do knit and crochet samples of all of the yarns so that I can give you my full rounded opinion on the yarn. I can tell you just by feeling it, and again, it is the Everyday DK anti-pilling yarn. It's got the Everyday name on it. It is soft. It is so soft. I mean, it's not as soft on my face as the Everyday Stripes, but it's not itchy. It's not itchy at all. And I'm having a real hard time with wool. Can I tell you that? I started working with, I started making myself a poncho. And I was using some yarn from Hobby Lobby that has wool in it. My hands flared up again. So I'm back to my anti-allergy medication regimen of Zyrtec in the morning, Benadryl at night, and lotion all day long, because I'm getting the blisters and stuff, and I really think it's with specific types of wool. The merino I have not had a problem with so far, but I'm going to be working with this soon, and I will of course let you know my opinion on that. And then I got some mystery bags in that same thing. The mystery bags have long been sold out. Mystery bags go like that, but $7 for a mystery bag, and it had 2 pinks and a pink variegated that kind of goes with it. This so pretty. That was one of them. $7 for all 3 of those. And then I got another kit that had coral and brown and a cream color, which is so pretty. That is almost Neapolitan. This reminds me of Denise from Black Ribbon Studio. She made the cinnamon wrap. I think it's a cinnamon wrap. One of my patterns. The pattern I did for the Try Me pack. And she used a darker brown and a pink and a white, and it was so beautiful. And that's totally who this reminds me of, is Black Ribbon Studio. And this is both of the kits were the Nicole, the Stitch Studio by Nicole yarn. This was originally AC Moore yarn, and this yarn is available on Micheals, at Micheals, and in Micheals' website. And some limited stock of the Stitch Studio is still available on Premier's website. This yarn is amazing. This is such a good yarn, and I was so glad to get it in the mystery packs because I was not expecting it at all. And you guys know I love AC Moore, so I was all about the AC Moore yarn. So happy about that. That made me so happy. And yes, I'm sitting on the broken chair, and no, I still have not found WD-40 to put in here. I haven't really looked though. We're just being honest. I haven't looked for WD-40. I'm sure it's in the garage in Mr. Cinnamon's man cave in his... He is so messy. Can I tell you? He is so messy. His work desk, he told me, is a mess, but he knows where everything is. And when he comes in here and sits at my desk, he makes a mess and drives me insane because I am not a messy person. I like everything neat and organized and in something, you know? As you can tell. I like order. And he's messy. Same thing with his workbench out there. He has like this 6-foot long workbench, and he has a stand-up tool chest. None of his tools are in the tool chest. They're on the work desk and scattered about. So now you can see why I don't go looking for that WD-40 to fix my little squeaky chair. I ain't got time to go through that mess. Yeah. All right, let's do some goals. You guys want to hear my goals for the year? I made a list. The reason I wrote goals is because I didn't make any goals last year. And my opinion was I didn't want to fail. Okay? I didn't make goals because I didn't want to fail. My theory last year was if I make goals and I don't achieve them, that to me is failure. Stupid. I should like the organization of setting goals and trying to achieve them as long as they're attainable and they're not out of reach goals or over the top goals. Like, I know that I will always have a large stash of yarn. I know that this is not going anywhere. However, there's a bookshelf over here. This bookshelf right here. This one. Let's see if I can get far enough. That one. Okay. It is a rickety bookshelf. It is made out of cheap pressed wood. Like really cheap pressed wood. I think we paid like $6 for it at the thrift store. And it belonged to my daughter. She gave it to me because she didn't have room in her bedroom. And I quickly stocked it full of yarn. The problem is, this room is getting smaller by the minute because of the homeschooling and this extra desk in here. And I just don't want that bookshelf in here anymore. I feel like if that corner is open, I can put like a rolling cart over there. Because Lisa from Lisa's Crochet has totally talked me into that. She didn't know she did, but she did. I can just... there'll be less bulk in here, and then that can keep like my supplies in, like all of my mini bags. Okay, this is my knit notions pouch. This is my crochet. This is one of my mini needle cases. Okay, I have lots of those. I have my Premier wooden needles up here. My Chaigu metal ones are here on this desk, and I want them somewhere that Scarlett can't get to if she gets out. Which, by the way, Scarlett is being retrained to be in her crate. She did crate training for the first year and a half of her life, and I always feel bad putting her in a crate. I hate it. But I think right now, for her safety, it is better that she's in a crate when we leave. Because she's crazy. She's still a puppy. She's only 2. And American Staffordshire Terriers specifically, like, I have a lot of experience with the breed. They're dumb for about 2 years. Just, they get into everything. They don't know that they're putting themselves in danger. And they chew up god-awful things, like a whole set of needles. And I think it's safer because Oreo has anxiety already, but Oreo doesn't tear up stuff. I think Oreo amps up Scarlett to be anxious while we're gone. And then Scarlett starts tearing stuff up to deal with her anxiety. So she's being crate trained, but she's doing really good. She likes it in there. So, hey... if it keeps her safe and it keeps her from getting into something she's not supposed to eat, I'm all for it. Yeah. So, goal number 1, get rid of that bookshelf. Which means I have to use that yarn to get rid of it. Or I have to get rid of it in other ways. I don't do a lot of giveaways on this channel, so that is not going to be something that I do. I think I am going to donate it, and I think I am going, not that yarn specific, I'm going to go through all of the yarn, which is going to be a process, and we're going to get it down to a more reasonable stash. And in working with yarn more, especially over this past year, I've really like got out of my comfort zone and started working with yarns that were like specialty yarns and yarns that were fancy. And I really have determined what yarn I love and what yarn is worth staying in my stash and what yarn I really don't like working with, and why am I keeping yarn that I know that I don't like working with and I won't enjoy it. I have some really big skeins of, I think, Karen 1 pound down there, and it's beautiful. It's like a peachy color, but I don't like working with it. I just don't like the feel of the yarn. And I have so much Premier, like, why am I holding on to this yarn that I'm not going to use? Another funny story, you may have heard that timer go off. All little man wanted for Christmas, besides a Nintendo Switch, which he's been asking for 2 years, which is outrageously expensive, he wanted an egg timer for the kitchen because he saw one at the grocery store and he had to have one. So Santa brought him an egg timer. This kid turns it on at every meal, and then randomly, after dinner, about 45 minutes after dinner, it starts buzzing. So that's what you may have heard, is his egg timer that Santa brought him. It's just one of those little plastic timers. Yeah. So that's one of my goals, is just to get rid of that bookshelf and use enough yarn, or dispose of enough yarn to get rid of that bookshelf. And I want also to clear off this shelf right here, because it is a cubby and there's a lot of little balls and little skeins in there, and mostly it's like hobium yarn and some Premier Enchanted and some Premier, I don't remember, the other glittery yarn is in there. And it's not yarn that I use every day, but I figured that's another place to really store stuff like this. So, by the way, this is the bag that Sandy from Crochet Ace sent me for my birthday. Has become my knit kit. Is my go-to knit kit. This goes everywhere with me when I'm knitting. And my bag is from Rel at the Dabbling Hook. I purchased this from her because I fell absolutely in love with this fabric, and this is my crochet kit, and it goes absolutely everywhere with me when I am crocheting. It's got all my little doodads in there, and that might be another video in the future, is showing you guys what's in my Notion pouches. That'd be fun, right? Let me write that down. That's a good idea for a video. Notion pouch video. All right, so use yarn stash, get rid of the bookshelf. Those are two of my goals. I want to slow down my buying on yarn just because I have a lot of yarn. I don't want to become a hoarder, and I don't want to end up burying myself in yarn. I don't. And I also don't want to leave a burden of a huge yarn stash. Like if I were to die, Mr. Cinnamon's got to deal with all this yarn, and I don't want that burden to be bigger than it should be. You know, I don't know, I've been thinking about that, but I don't want him to have to deal with that. Not that I'm planning on dying or anything, but just these are things you think about. It's just things I think about. You think about goals, you think about your life, you think about what you want for your life. These are all things that I have thought about. So I want to slow down buying. And as soon as I tell Mr. Cinnamon that, and this comes back to his birthday, I'll tell you about his birthday, okay? I put some money aside, which, you know, for his birthday. His birthday is right after Christmas. And until very recently, like when I started actually making money on this channel, I did not have money of my own because Mr. Cinnamon's the breadwinner. We agreed when I got pregnant with my daughter that I would take care of her so that she didn't have to be in daycare, because my older sister is in the daycare system. She's a teacher, and the stuff I see and hear from her alone, and this is the older sister that lives close to me that I don't talk to at all, but when she lived here, the stuff I would see and hear, I never wanted my kids to be in daycare, just because I wouldn't want her raising my kids, you know. Like, honestly, well, or anybody, anyway, so that was the agreement. I'm not down on anybody that has to have their kids in daycare. I'm not. I understand that, there are people that have to work. I get that. But we were in a position to where we just could make drastic cuts in other places of our lives, and we could afford for me to stay home and raise our kids. And that's just the way we planned and agreed. And so I never had my own money, and for years and years. And Mr. Cinnamon he's not the kind of person that ever asks for anything, wants anything, needs anything. And so he would spend money on us for Christmas, or we would spend money on us for Christmas. He would be like, well, I don't have any money to give you to spend on me for my birthday. Well, that is not fair at all. And that made me feel terrible. So the past couple years with my little YouTube money, or like money I earn from Premiere, or like whatever money that I earn, I decided to get my own bank account. That's all my own, that I don't have to answer to him. And I have my little stash. I can buy him stuff. And he is so not used to that at all. He actually, I don't think he likes it. That's just real talk. He doesn't like to be doted on, but he likes to dote on me a lot. And so yesterday I was like, well, I kept asking him for like 2 weeks. What do you want for your birthday? Nothing. What do you want for your birthday? I don't know. What kind of cake do you want? I don't know. So I'm like, all right, I got you. You're not going to tell me, you're not going to help me. I'm going to get you. Watch. So we got in the car, and I was like, well, I was going to buy you a chainsaw. And we saw, there's this bush that used to be where a tree used to be in our yard that fell down several years ago. And there's a lot of weeds and like really thick brush that needs to be cut down. And so I was like, I was going to buy you a chainsaw for your birthday, but I really hate going into like hardware stores and trying to get a guy to help me pick out something, like one of the workers, because they look at you like you're a woman and you're dumb and you don't know nothing. That irritates me. There has been like, we go to the mechanic and the mechanic is talking to Chris, and I'm like, I know more about cars than he does. You need to be talking to me, So my mom was that kind of woman. She did everything her thing is, I ain't waiting on no man. So she just did everything her dang on self. And my dad was happy to let her do it because he was, doing his own thing. But so I learned a lot because I was like always tagging behind my mom. Like I wanted to do what she wanted to do. I know how to hang drywall. I have watched her fix a furnace. I have watched her install lighting in the house. I know how to do all this from watching her. And I'm like a sponge. I just pick up stuff, So anyway, he's like, well, chainsaws are really expensive. I was like, no, they're not that expensive. I've looked at chainsaws. They're like maybe $130. And I opened up my phone and there was a chainsaw on sale at Lowe's for $114. And it was gas powered like he wanted, because, they seem to be a little bit better chainsaws if you have a gas powered one. And so he's all, oh, that's a really good price. There was only one left in stock. So while he's, talking, we're driving, I ordered the dang chainsaw. And not only did I order it in the time it took us to get close to Lowe's that we were not even heading to, we were going to BJ's down in Richmond to buy him flavored water. Because he has been talking about this flavored water that our BJ's doesn't carry anymore, but they carry it down in Richmond, which is an hour drive. And so we were on our way to Richmond to buy him water. I said that was my gift to him for Christmas because he won't drive down there and get it himself. It's $8.99 for a case of like 30. He don't want to drive all the way down there and pay that for water because he feels selfish or something. I don't know. It's stupid. So I was like, we're going down there. You're getting water for your birthday. So on the way towards the freeway, which is kind of where the Lowe's is at, I placed the order and it was ready for pickup in 10 minutes flat, which was crazy. I was like, go over to Lowe's, your chainsaw's ready. He's like, what? He could not believe that I just ordered him a chainsaw and it was ready. So he was so happy he got a chainsaw. And then we went down to BJ's and I bought him 4 cases of water so that we had enough to last him a month. Because we're trying not to drink soda or like anything that's got like weird chemicals in it, just because of all the health issues I've had. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, you guys. I know a lot of you just turn the channel off. You're like, I don't want to hear all this. Anyway, he was happy. He got his chainsaw. He got 4 cases of water. And while we were at BJ's, I bought him a big supply of deodorant to last him hopefully the year. And I bought him some body wash and stuff. He likes, he buys the stuff I like because I don't want him smelling weird. I'm really sensitive to smells. And I like the menthol minty type smell stuff. So that's what I make him get, is Old Spice Fiji. That's what I buy him. So anyway, because I doted on him, we left BJ's in Richmond, which, let me tell you, there's also a Tuesday morning around the corner from that BJ's. He starts going down this weird, back road. And I'm like, where are you going? He's all, this is the way the GPS is telling me to go. Which it was. But little did I know, he put Tuesday morning in the GPS. And we started pulling in the parking lot. I was like, what are you doing? He's all, we're going to Tuesday morning. I said, I ain't got money to buy myself yarn. I don't want to go to Tuesday morning. I had the money to buy yarn. I just didn't want to. I mean, I don't need it. I didn't, whatever. So anyway, we're going to Tuesday morning, and Mr. Cinnamon gets me yarn, which, by the way, this is beautiful yarn. This is, let me find the one. I removed the tag from one of these because the tag was on the info. Yeah, this one. It is Knitting Fever Painted Mist. I have seen this on somebody's channel, and I don't remember who, but this is the White Sands yarn. It is absolutely beautiful. It is 58% modal. I don't know if you see that. 34% acrylic, 8% wool. It's just so soft. And that modal or whatever that word is, I looked it up. It is from the wood from a beechwood, I think it's beechwood tree or something like that. And it's kind of like a alternative to cotton or bamboo. And it uses 20 to 40% less water to make this yarn than cotton makes. But it is absolutely beautiful. And he got me 3 of these, and these were $4.99. Regular price, $10. So I think he bought that because he felt guilty for me spending so much money on him. Hang on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. So yeah, he's always, I don't know if he is the sweetest husband in the world or if he is the biggest enabler in the world. Maybe a little bit of both. Because I swear, as soon as I tell him, I don't want to buy as much yarn. I want to get rid of some of the yarn I have. I want to slow down buying. He's like, go buy some. Or he buys me some. Or, you know. Husbands, what are you going to do? You know, some of you are like, shut up. You're so lucky. Oh, I do realize I'm really blessed with him. I really, really am. All right. So where were we at with my goals list? Use stash. Get rid of get rid of the bookshelf. Slow down on buying. I only want to buy yarn that is direct content for the channel. I don't even want to come up with specific projects that need me to buy more yarn. I want to come up with projects that make use of this fantastic yarn stash that I have. Because I know not everyone is as blessed as I am with yarn. And I really have a lot of yarn that I have this poor girl mentality that there's going to be a day where I'm not going to be able to afford yarn. Or there's going to be a day where it runs out. And so the very best of the best yarns I save and hold on to it. For example, I love Muir Woods yarn. You guys know this. I have an emotional attachment to the Muir Woods yarn because of the national park system and the whole belief and the idea of John Muir and all of that. So if you look up here, this entire shelf has about 40 balls of the Muir Woods yarn in it. I don't need that many. And I have plans that I want to make with that yarn. I want to make a giant shawl out of that yarn for me so that when I want to travel and I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I can't go to California like I want. I can't go see grandma. I can't go visit all of my favorite national parks. I have this big, beautiful blanket that is based off of John Muir and his idea of the national park system. And so, you know, that's something I want to make, but I'm holding on to the yarn and I'm hoarding it because there's a fear that one day I won't be able to get any more, which is ridiculous. But that's a lot of the trauma that I dealt with as a child, is you had to take care of stuff because you had to appreciate it. I didn't live in a throwaway society where you use it, you get rid of it. I grew up in a society where you had something, you kept it for years and years because you didn't have the money to get another one, you know? And so I need to break that mentality a little bit and use what I have and stop hoarding it. Now, this is not, if you're watching this and any of this feels personal to you, this is not about you at all. This is about me and my own issues. Like, this is me talking to me about me and nothing else. Because I've watched a couple of people lately and they say stuff and I'm like, are they talking to me? Because that sounds like it's directed towards me. And no, it's not. They're talking about themselves and their own issues. Yeah. Another goal I have for this year is I want to knit a blanket. And you can directly blame Ross from Smell Great Guy for this one. Because he's been doing these home vlogs. And I don't even know what he was talking about because I was looking at his blanket. he was laying on the couch. And he pulls up this knit blanket up to his chin. And I was like, I need a knit blanket in my life. Because knit, especially like garter stitch, is so soft. It's so squishy and just so, I can't even describe it to you. And I'm like, I need a knit stitch blanket or a garter stitch blanket in my life. Just those ridges and the soft squishiness of the yarn and what it does to the yarn when you knit it up. Oh, now don't get me wrong. I have a crochet blanket that is homespun. I know you guys, a lot of you guys don't like homespun. I love homespun, okay? I have a whole stash of it in this cabinet. I made a corner to corner blanket out of homespun. It is actually from stash that I didn't even purchase myself. I got it as a birthday gift 2 years ago, I think. And I made myself a blanket out of this purple and gray homespun yarn. And I was really sick the other night. And I was laying on the couch. I was not feeling good. I had to eat a lot of gluten for this celiac test that I had to make. And I have not felt good since, which tells me that I should not be eating gluten no matter what this test says, which I'm supposed to get the results in a couple days. No matter what it says, I should not be eating gluten. It makes me sick. It makes me really sick. Well, anyway, I fell asleep. I had my new headphones on. Mr. Cinnamon got me some noise canceling headphones. Can I tell you how much I needed those in this house? So that I can do what I need to do on my phone and listen to what I need to listen to on my headphones without being interrupted. Because I do watch other podcasters' videos for research. And that is part of my job for this channel is I research other podcasters, see what they're talking about, see what's popular, see what yarn they're talking about, and I base some of my content off of that. It's all the research of trying to make this a good channel. It's what I do for you guys. So I had my headphones on and I think I was listening to Llama Mama Kayla and her voice was so soothing to me and I didn't feel good at all. And I fell asleep watching Llama Mama Kayla. I just love her, by the way. Can I tell you that? She's like the sweetest person. So I'm chilling. I'm listening to Kayla. I fell asleep on the couch. Next thing I know, I had my purple corner to corner homespun blanket over me, which is so squishy and soft. And I just felt better. I instantly feel better. And sometimes I wrap myself in crochet to make myself feel better when I don't feel good. And so I just want a knit blanket for me, which means it has to be big because I'm a big person. I'm 5'9", which is tall for a woman. I'm also very large framed. So I need a big blanket when I have one. So knitting a blanket is probably going to take me 8 months. But I figure if I use a nice soft, bulky, squishy blanket or yarn, I have a whole bunch of purple puzzle yarn right here. There's like 6 balls right there. I also have more puzzle yarn up there, but I'm not going to show you that. But it's not purple, but I don't care about that. That is more than enough to make a blanket out of knit, and it would be big enough for my body, and because it's bulky, it won't take as long as if I use like a worsted or a DK. And so that is my number 4 thing. I want to knit a blanket for myself for those days I don't feel good and I just want to cuddle up on the couch with a little blanket. I will have a nice cozy knit blanket and it will make my heart so happy. So that is another goal, and that is Ross's fault that I have that goal because his knit blanket looks so nice, and I was like, I just really want a knit blanket. I want to knit a blanket, and I have long cords, so I am already set. I know I have all the tools to make a big blanket. I forgot to write something on this list. I got to add a number 8. And I will tell you about that in a minute. My 5th goal, I want to continue learning this year. I just want to learn new stitches. I want to learn new crochet techniques. I want to learn a lot more knit techniques. I love learning. I love learning new things. I love sharing what I learned with you guys. That is it's so fun to me. Like, that's the great thing about craft. And that's also the great thing about photography is, you guys know that I used to be a photographer. It is something you will never finish learning. There is always new technology when it comes to photography. There's always new techniques. There's always new ideas that people come up with for photography. Same thing as with any craft. There is always something new. And even if it's not new, there's always something old to find out. There is stuff that maybe didn't get passed down, that maybe they were doing in the 20s with knit and crochet, or the 60s. And that's why I like looking at the older patterns and the older books, because I like seeing stuff in the way they used to do it, as well as all the new ideas that we're coming up with now. I love there's so much knowledge out there, and my brain just wants to suck it all in. So that's another goal. I just want to learn this year. I want to learn more techniques, stitches, patterns. I just want to learn. I also, number 6, I want to visit my local yarn shop. I have a local yarn shop to me. It is called Untangled Pearls. I have been following them for 2 years on all the social media, and I am scared to death to go in there. Why? I have no idea. I have anxiety. You guys know this. I also have a history of social anxiety. So social interactions used to terrify me. If I walked into a place that was too busy, I would walk out because I didn't want to be around that many people, because I'd freak out a little bit. I'm not as bad anymore, and I'm very more social than I used to be. There's birds on my bird feeder. There's a little titmouse out there. Anyway, my birds make me happy. Small shops where there's nobody in there and like the owner is like waiting on you, that makes me nervous, because I feel like pressured for some reason. Like I have to buy something, and I feel bad that I'm in there wasting their time if I don't buy something, if I don't like something. And so like that anxiety still lives inside of me. I'm going to go into that store this year, and I am making it a goal to actually talk to the lady and ask her if I could film in there, because she is an older lady, and she has been saying over and over again in her lives recently that I have not interacted in those lives for fear, for some reason. I don't know. Because I'm a new knitter, I feel like they're going to judge me. It's stupid. It's all dumb. And I know this. She wants to make a bigger technological footprint. So she wants more social media interaction, because I'm wondering if maybe they're having problems, or if they're not making as much money. And I'm sure that they are having struggles because of the COVID thing, you know. And so I want to actually go in there and film, and I want to experience an actual local yarn shop that is local to me, because I've never been inside one. And I want to go, and I want to peruse, and I want to buy some nice yarn for myself. And, you know, that's another thing. I feel guilty about spending $20 on a hank of yarn for myself. So I need to, these are all things that are in with that goal of visiting my local LYS. Number 7 has to do with my personal life. I'm not going to go into too much detail. You guys know that I've had health struggles this year and pretty much my whole life, and I just want to be healthy this year. I want to stop feeling sick all of the time. I want to stop having headaches all the time. I want to stop having a constant stomach ache and feeling like my insides are shredding. So my number 7 goal, which actually should be a number 1 goal, is I want health this year. So that's going to mean drastic changes in my life, including getting rid of gluten and whatever else makes me sick. So we're tracking that. And of course, there will probably be crankiness involved in that, because I'm taking away a lot of the sugars out of my life. I don't eat sugary foods, but I eat. I love bread, and bread doesn't love me back. So taking away that is going to be hard. But that's a big goal, is health. I just want to be healthy. I've never been one to like set New Year's resolutions for my weight, because I've always been big, and it took a long time for me to accept and love myself as I am, with all of my faults and fats and whatever else. I do love myself despite me referring to myself as fat. Me calling myself fat is just realistic. I am a big girl. I got a lot of fat on my body. It is not unreasonable to call myself what I actually am. It is not an insult to me. I don't any longer let the word fat hold any weight or pain with me. So me taking the word and owning it, it stops the hurt if someone else were to say, hey, you're fat. Well, duh. Not, oh, that hurt, I'm going to go cry because somebody called me fat. It's like, duh. I realize this. I accept it. I love myself, fat and all. So that will never be a goal, is to be skinny. I know that my body's not going to ever be skinny. I could literally eat 1,000 calories a day. My body just stays bigger. That's the way I'm built. And that might have something to do with the glucose too, or the glucose. Gluten, not glucose. I don't have a problem with glucose that I know of. All right. Number 8 is what I just wrote down and added to my list, is I want to knit socks. Why? I love socks. I love socks. I love yarn. Why wouldn't I put the two together? I mean, it makes sense. I have a pair of socks that Mary from Mary's Crochet Chit Chat, I think she changed her name recently. Anyway, she knit me these beautiful socks, and I love them. I didn't want to wear them for months because I didn't want to ruin them. And I didn't want to have to wash them because I didn't want them being ruined if they got washed. Mr. Cinnamon threw them in the washer. P.S. They're not ruined, but they're really fuzzy. They are so comfortable. They are soft. They let the heat out of my feet because there's like wool in them. They also keep my feet warm. I just love these socks, and I want to make myself a pair. And if I only make one pair of socks, I will call that a success. But I feel like the goal of making socks has been made easier. I already have sock yarn. That's not a big deal. Carrie Penny from the Happy Crafty Homemaker. I'm going to have to go through and write down all these names because I've already forgotten half the people I've mentioned in this video, and I've just been name dropping. Carrie Penny from the Happy Crafty Homemaker sent me some Mary Maxim yarn, and in that was a ball of sock yarn. And then Mr. Cinnamon for Christmas, not knowing what he was buying me, he bought me some Chigu needles. These are the little itty bitty needles. These are meant for stuff like socks and fingerless mitts and mittens. He didn't know that. He didn't even know what they were. He just saw because I make an Amazon wish list, which I will not be sharing with you guys because I don't want people to buy me gifts off that. I make it so that I remember what I want in the future, and then when I can afford it or when I need it, I buy it. That's the point of my Amazon wish list. It will never be in here. These are little tiny shorty needles, okay? They're like tiny, tiny. That's like 3 inches, okay? The needle itself. Some of these are like 2 inches. So there's tiny little needles. These are meant for little projects like socks or fingerless mitts. And then it comes with the cords and stuff. This is actually a really cool kit. Comes with the little tiny cords. This is perfect for making socks. So I took that as a sign from the universe and Carrie Penny and Mr. Cinnamon that I need to make socks this year. So another use I found for these yesterday, we were driving in the car doing Mr. Cinnamon's birthday shopping, and I was making this. Now the problem I have with my DPNs or double point needles is they're metal, and I knit loosely because I used to knit way too tight. And when I do the two together, I have to be stationary so that these don't just slip out and I lose all my stitches, because that has happened to me. I can't tell you how many times. Luckily, I've learned how to pick up stitches and save slip stitches. So I did not want to put these in until I absolutely had to. So I had the bright idea, because this little pouch is small enough to fit in my Knit Notions pouch, which was with me. And also, by the way, the ball of yarn also fit in there. So I had everything I needed in the car to make this hat. I had my regular Chigu knitting needles in here. And I was like, I got those little shorties in there. And you get to a point in the reducing of the hat of the slip stitches here, or the knit two togethers here, where it becomes too tight around your circulars. And then you have to switch to DPN so that you can continue knitting. And I was like, I got those little shorty needles in there. They're Chigu too. So I slipped off the longer needles and I slid on very carefully the shorty needles. And I was able to go from here all the way to here with those shorty needles. And then I switched to the shorty cord, which was another thing in itself, switching from a long cord to a thin cord. And then I was able to get down to the last row and did not have to switch to DPNs. Loved that. That made me so happy. And then I just did the very last row with DPNs in the car. And I was able to close it off. And look how pretty that is. This is why I love Ross's hat. No slip stitches. No having to do DPNs for longer. So I was like, I got no problem using DPNs. DPNs are easy to me now that I figured it out. But traveling and doing DPNs has been a huge struggle to me. And I'm in the car a lot. And I love knitting hats in the car. So I think I have solved the problem for DPNs. And I only had to do DPNs for the absolute last row of that hat. And then I was able to bind it off. And I was done. And I was so happy. I was like, yes! So those little shorty needles come in way super handy for hats even. So, yeah. This has been a long video. I did not intend for it to be so long. Whoever is still watching this, thank you for sticking in this long. Hopefully there weren't too many commercials in there. Yeah. I hope you guys will join me in my adventure this year and all of our goals. I have channel goals too, but I think I really talked about those in the live a lot. We have so much good content coming up, and I'm so excited about what is to come this year in so many ways. In so many ways. I don't like talking about, life events, but I really have hope that this year is going to be something different than last year was, and I hope that we're able to return to at least some bit of normalcy. I don't mind wearing a mask, honestly. I wear a mask everywhere we go. And actually, I think even after it's safe not to wear a mask, I probably will wear a mask if I'm not feeling good. I mean, how many times have you seen a person in China wearing a mask during cold and flu season? Why have we never done that here? And I myself have laughed, like, why is she wearing a mask? That's so stupid. Now I'm like, I'm going to wear that mask because, A, I have some really cute Disney masks and they make me happy because I can wear Mickey Mouse right on my face or Stitch. I don't have a problem with that. So I think, there probably will be times where that mask just stays with me, stays in my car, and I will wear it when I need to, or when I don't feel good, or when I feel that it's cold and flu season, because I don't want to get the cold and flu anymore. I don't like being sick. But I am looking forward to, more normal sense of traveling, more normal sense of the grocery store is the worst. I hate going to the grocery store. I honestly feel safer at Disney World than I ever feel at Walmart. Like, Walmart is just like a cesspool of germs. You just know it. They ain't cleaning anything. They don't care. So that's why I'm like, I would rather go to Disney because I see them cleaning constantly. They got hand washing stations every 5 feet. Like, I'm safe at Disney. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end the video now that we're just at about an hour. There's a purple hair in my tripod. It's stuck. So I am going to rewatch this video, all hour long of it, so that I can write down the notes of everybody I mentioned while I'm uploading the video. Thank you for hanging on with me for this whole video. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of my life and my community. I'm really proud of what we have created with the Cinnamon Stitches name. I'm really proud of the community that we created in the Facebook group, the Instagram, just everywhere. I have like the best followers. Like, I get the random idiot that comes through and just runs their mouth. I absolutely get that. But for the most part, I am really trying to keep a safe environment for everyone, and I'm trying to keep a fun environment for everyone. And I feel like that is actually appreciated by most people. And, it's just a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys, like, more than you could possibly understand. I love having you as part of my life. I love reading your comments. I love interacting with you as much as I possibly can. I know that a lot of comments get unresponded to because there's so many on so many platforms. But just know that I read absolutely every comment, and I take your comments to heart, no matter what they say, no matter how short. I appreciate all the love that you guys give me. And I hope that I can give even a quarter of that back to you guys. All right, I'm going to let you go. Happy New Year to everyone, everywhere in this world. I wish you love, and I wish you peace, and I wish you health this year. And thank you for joining me for this ride. Bye, guys.